Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into how you can build your own incredibly engaging, completely Islamically compliant educational media for kids. We're going to take those foundational stories and values we all know and literally bring them to life on screen.
Now, let's address the elephant in the room right off the bat. Can we actually create captivating cartoons while respecting Islamic guidelines? You want top-tier educational content, right? But you also absolutely need to stay true to scholarly guidance on depicting animate life. Well, today we are completely demystifying this process. We're going to show you that compliance and creativity, they actually go hand in hand. We'll be using a three-pillar framework to get this done: the principles of drawing, the practice of using software, and the purpose of Islamic storytelling.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. 1. Islamic guidelines for animation. 2. Animation tools and techniques. 3. Telling the Prophet's story. 4. The year of the elephant. And finally, number 5, teaching core Islamic values. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. Islamic guidelines for animation.
So when we look at guidance from sources like Seeker's Guidance, complete three-dimensional figures are generally avoided as they're seen as competing with the creation of Allah. Impartially speaking, though, 2D drawings offer a fantastic practical workaround for your educational content. Many Shafi and Maliki scholars actually permit 2D images, especially when they don't feature a complete realistic human form. It's all about finding that balance.
And you know what's really interesting here? These practical design constraints actually force you to be way more creative. You can use everyday objects with just 2 simple dots for eyes. You could invent fuzzy, imaginary creatures that literally don't exist in reality. Or, hey, if you want to get really weird with it, give your character a television for a head. Why not? The personality and emotion, the real magic, is carried by how your character speaks and moves, not by hyper-realistic facial details.
Section 2. Animation tools and techniques.
Now, since this is the third part of our broader series on digital creation, we are focusing heavily right here on how you actually build the video and log the timing of the video. You really don't need a massive Hollywood studio to pull this off. You basically just drag and drop a 2D character, choose an action from over 500 options like breathing or talking or riding, and then you paste your script for an automated voiceover. But listen closely, here's the secret sauce: the timing. If your automated voiceover talks about a character running for 3 seconds, you have to log that timing perfectly on your timeline's duration bars before you even think about transitioning to the next scene. It's all about flow.
And that perfectly sets us up to talk about the Smart Move tool, which seamlessly moves objects from point A to point B. This brilliantly illustrates how easily you can animate really complex actions. Say you're teaching biology. You could animate oxygen molecules moving through a body on a curved path to reach the lungs. Or, in an Islamic historical context, you could have a flock of birds flying in from the edges of the screen at very specific timings. You just set point A, set point B, and let the software handle all the frames in between. It is a total game changer.
Moving right along to Section 3, telling the Prophet's story.
You know, so often, bedtime stories for kids jump straight from a miraculous birth in 570 CE to Angel Jibreel washing his heart at age 4, and then fast forward right to the first revelation at age 40. But we really shouldn't skip the middle. Instead of just jumping from miracle to revelation, we absolutely need to put those ordinary years back into the timeline if we want to truly teach character.
That's exactly why those middle years matter so much. By animating these early, unglamorous years, showing him working hard as a shepherd, helping the poor, and just dealing with everyday struggles, kids learn that patience, honesty, and solid character were the absolute foundation of the Prophet's life long before his prophethood even began. It shows them exactly why the people of Mecca gave him those incredible titles: al-Sadiq, the truthful, and al-Amin, the trustworthy.
Section 4. The year of the elephant.
This is a perfect mini-narrative to animate, occurring right before the Prophet's birth in 570 CE. The visual contrast here is just amazing. On one hand, you have King Abraha of Yemen, arrogant and marching on Mecca with this massive army of elephants to destroy the Kaaba. On the other side, you have the Prophet's grandfather, al-Muttalib, and when they finally meet, al-Muttalib doesn't beg for the Kaaba to be spared. Nope, he just calmly asks for his 200 stolen camels back. He tells a completely stunned Abraha that he is the owner of the camels, but the Kaaba has its own owner who will protect it. It beautifully sets up this epic story of absolute trust in Allah stacked against overwhelming arrogance.
Just imagine animating this dramatic, tense moment. The elephant Mahmud suddenly froze. It would not move another step toward the Kaaba. And then following that up with the miraculous flock of birds dropping stones from their beaks and talons.
It perfectly captures a child's imagination while teaching real Islamic history. Using that timeline and those smart move tools we just talked about, you could build a totally captivating scene of Mahmud refusing to march forward, bringing this incredible history to life in a perfectly compliant 2D format.
And finally, Section 5, Teaching Core Islamic Values. So the crucial takeaway here is that animation isn't just for those grand miracles or massive historical battles. You can take core phrases from the nasheeds kids listen to every day and map them to practical, everyday actions they can actually relate to. Alhamdulillah isn't just a vocabulary word, it's the physical act of showing gratitude for your food, for your health, for the rain outside. Astaghfirullah is seeking forgiveness when we mess up. Labbaik is answering Allah's call. It's about making abstract concepts totally concrete. You can literally use your 2D characters to model these exact behaviors on a daily basis. Think about animating a character taking a moment to marvel at Allah's creations, like the stars or the oceans, or stopping their play to observe one of the 5 daily prayers. You could show them treating a new classmate with equality and kindness, or making dua for strength during sad times. These visual cues create a continuous, incredibly powerful loop of positive reinforcement and Islamic education for young minds.
So you now have the principles to stay safely within scholarly guidelines, the practical tools to navigate those timelines and keyframes, and a treasure trove of foundational stories and daily Islamic values. The only question left for us today is, what story will you animate next to inspire the next generation? I really hope this explainer has sparked some serious creativity for you. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I honestly can't wait to see what you build.